following is a presentation of Mr. X News Network.
Objection! I said I didn't do nothing! The following is a presentation of Mr. X News Network. It's Mr. X News Network. It's on YouTube. We've been here for a long time. I've been here for a long time. And if somebody's going to tell you that they are a monetized creator and not banned anymore, chances are you want to have proof of that. You want to have proof of that. Mr. X has shown proof of that. That's right. And if you want to go to a real low quality, no StreamYard, no opening, no muscularity, I always ask if you could do this. If you could stand up and go like that and say, hey, that's pretty smooth there. The chest is out farther than the gut. Can't walk around, tell people you're a professional athlete if you got a gut. But we're not here to make fun of people. We're not here to joke around to that extent. That's a little receipt that's been put back up. We're not going to be doing much of that here. I want to thank you guys, first of all, for being a part of what I do, Mr. X News Network, the main show that has been on Jim Terry TV for 3 years. We'll get into that and why that's the main show and what happened over there. If you guys don't know me, my name is Mr. X. I have done hundreds of shows. Here's what this show is about. I typically talk about news and politics and funny things, and I include you. I don't like drama, but I'm not running away, and I'm certainly not hiding from it either. You'll never see Mr. X hide. The only thing I hide is my face, and you guys know what that's all about. So here we are. This show is really dedicated, and let me get over here in the middle, dedicated to Jim Terry TV OTT full access subscribers and Night Owl Network full access subscribers too. I don't plan on coming up here and ranting and raving and being ridiculous. The opening's going to be a little ridiculous. You like that opening? Doesn't take long for the Mr. X to edit people out. You see the Cash Apps, you see the PayPal, you see what's updated. If you feel like blessing me and you think I'm doing a good job, you don't have to pay $29.99 for it anymore. Or double dip $12.99, and you only got me anyway, right? We'll get into that later. This is not a show not to condemn people. So if you're a hater and you're here and you have been blackballed by the Mr. X, people like 28 Alice who are contacting me, just because I have decided to walk away from Jim Terry TV does not mean I am now your friends. If you've been blackballed, I'm not going to talk about you or make fun of you or anything like that, but I'm not fumble nuts. Soon as somebody leaves, they become a hater over here. I'm not doing that. So Texas Granny, if you're here, and I think you are as a moderator, if you see any of those people, and I saw people like Sugar Plum and Rhonda Hauser and this and that, sign up. And some of them I've already went ahead and deleted on my own, so you don't have to do it. If you see those people come into the chat, they could watch in the bushes. They're not part of this community. They're out. They had their opportunity. I don't want them over here. I don't want anything to do with those people. I'm on my own now. Thank you for doing that, Texas Granny. And I haven't gotten an opportunity to talk too much to Barbara Buffalo other than just a text here and there. There's no conspiracy. I just want to wish her and her son the best. That's it. That's it. I have not spoken to that woman on the phone, but I have spoke to a lot of you guys on the phone over the last, since Tuesday. And here's what I'm going to not do. I am not going to put any of you in the middle of this thing with Jim and me. I actually had people contact me and say, Mr. X, is this a work? No, No, I spent at least 30 minutes to an hour with the 25 or 30 people that have called me, have reached out to me, every single one of them. Customer service, that's what this show's about, because you're going to see that there's been a big problem and a big disconnect. And that disconnect is Jim Terry. And I'm going to expose all that stuff without making fun, without anything that's strikeable, without anything that's damning or anything like that. And I also want to make this pledge too. I said I wouldn't put people in the middle of this. Johnny, if you're out there, and I spoke to you about this on the phone, I am not going to use your show, Johnny Yarborough and PZ2, as a sounding board and an intermediate sounding board to dox people, to go after people like other people are. Johnny, if I come on your show and you want to have Jim up there too, I don't want any problems. I'm just going to drop down, right? I don't want any problems. But I don't think it's fair for Johnny to be in a position where people are going on his show that are contributors of his, and are being doxxed and harassed by other people. Johnny, you mentioned you might go away, and I hope you don't. I hope you don't. Because we didn't build your show. You put the time and built your show. We helped you some, and you helped yourself. You put yourself first, just like I did, and I hope you do that with your show. And I hope that the people that Jim is sending out messages to, Bellevue, never had a problem with you. We've had arguments on shows. There's no issues. Betty Hayward and Janelle and all that, Jim has doxed you. I have not. So post what you want, do what you want, but I have never done anything to you people. And my suggestion is, instead of posting stuff for him, take care of yourself. And that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to get in the chat. I got a lot of different things to discuss. I hope everybody's doing well. Johnny, I wish you the best. Do your show. Do not be harassed by these people. That is that. So, no, Big Head Tommy, you guys aren't smack dab in the middle of it. And the other thing I wanted to mention tonight, too, is when I read off Cash Apps, unlike Jim, who was reading off Cash Apps the other day when he was going nuts, he was reading off old Cash Apps. I had people contact me and say, Mr. X, just to let you know, I didn't send him a Cash App. I said, I didn't even watch it. Now, I'm not going to say who those people are. You don't owe me any explanation if you want to support Jim or you want to support Johnny. You want to support, Salty Pancakes, who I don't even think is around anymore. You want to support whoever you want to support. This here is intended to be a safe place. This is intended not to be harassment back and forth and the hater stuff. And like I said, haters, if you're here because you think you're going to get some kind of juicy information, that's not going to be the case. You'll probably be able to figure out some of the story, but I'm not going to get all amped up and, animated and ridiculous. It's just not what I need to do here. This is for the full access subscribers, people who still have memberships, and then we will get back to what we've done in the past. Thank you for all the Cash Apps and super stickers that come in. And if you think for a moment that people don't care about Mr. X, the numbers prove otherwise. Oh, he bought them. He this, he that. That's what they're going to say, I'm sure. But you could see me. I got a backdrop. I got the StreamYards. I got all the openings that I created. They're mine. I created them. Why would I give them to you? You're allowed to use them, but I'm not going to give you the raw content. They're mine. I created all these backgrounds. And let me tell you this, guys. What a joy is it to remove from my StreamYard all that Dylan Rounds bullshit. Oh, my God. I'm so thankful to get rid of all that Dylan Rounds. Dylan Rounds is proof that he's gay and Jim on a billboard. That's all gone. Thank God that's gone. That's all off my StreamYard. I've gotten rid of it. It's done. But we're here. And what I usually like to do, thank you. I'm not going to drop the names of, hey, who's in the chat. Thank you for people who are pro Mr. X. I'm not going to, when I read off Cash Apps, especially the Cash Apps from a couple days ago, who are people who are supporting me, I'm not going to say how much money you sent in, and I'm not going to say what you said because I don't want to put you in the middle of it. I'm just going to say thank you. That's it. And I'll tell you if it's from a couple days ago or if it's from today. So that's that. Again, it was time for me to think about me first and the audience that I have helped build. I'm not the only one. Was Jim there? Sure. Was other people there who helped? People who, like, we went over to Angel Gotti's show and met people, or people came from Doug Hutton's show who I was really never on. Sure, absolutely. But when you put in the amount of time that I have put in, you'll see that the reason they came was because of Jim, but the reason they stayed was because of me. And there's no competition. I'm not competing against Jim if he goes other. What Jim should be doing on these shows, since he's the owner of the OTT, he should be discussing how this is going forward. But I thought he was going to have Crab Legs Friday tonight on Jim Terry TV. Why isn't that happening? On Tuesday on Jim Terry TV, I sent him the RTMP code and the stream key code so he could do his show. You know, he hasn't done a show over there in 2 weeks. I've done more Jim Terry TV shows than Jim has. It's a fact. Go look it up. We'll talk about that later too. But we got to talk about how we got here and what's going on. But before we get all that out there, you know, Mr. X News Network is about the news. And I like to talk about the news. I like to talk about what's going on. And I got some notes here. So, and I got a lot of things to talk about. Welcome, everybody, for being a part, and thank you for being a part of Mr. X News Network. I really appreciate it. Usually this is where I say hi to everybody and drop names, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to put anybody in the middle. You know what Mr. X News Network is about, and it's still going to be about that. We'll get into more about the closing down of Jim Terry TV on my side and me leaving it. It's not the closing down. I misspoke. About me leaving and your subscription and how that works later. Hang in there with me. Haters that are still banned, that are expecting to join up, and I've talked about this earlier, that are sending me emails, it's not happening. I mentioned 28 Alice. I don't want anything to do with you people. Please leave me alone. If you've been banned, you're gone. This is a customer service show, and we're going to discuss some news for clarity. It's been the last ever show on Jim Terry TV was actually Mr. X News Network on Monday. You think about it, Jim had Tuesday he could have done. He didn't do it. He had Night Owl Network he could have done. He didn't do it. And, of course, there's supposed to be Crab Legs Friday today. He hasn't done it. The problem is Jim's been on other people's shows more than the shows that you're paying for. So some news here before before I get into why I left Jim Terry TV. I want to share some of these things with you because that's what this show's about. This show's about having fun and not necessarily being crazy. But you know, I did get word from Little Dog the Squirrel, and I saw that Little Dog the Squirrel's information was removed in his show, which is a very popular show, from the OTT. And Little Dog the Squirrel is extremely upset. He's upset. He's got some problems, and he's gone crazy. He's crazy now. And I didn't even know this was possible. Look at this little squirrel. Look at this little dog. What is he doing? No! He's eating a lizard? What's the matter with him? He's gone crazy. He wants to be...
Yeah, we just both found out today.
We both found out today that Little Dog the Squirrel went nuts. That's not good. Not good at all. He's eating a lizard. I guess he's more upset about it than me. Not a big deal. But there are some other things, too. Kyle the Coyote. Jim was asking, like, why would Kyle the Coyote and these other things be on a show that would say, you know, CUNT and this and that and all these different things? Because when you have Netflix or you have a streaming platform, you have rated R movies and you have kids movies. I mean, that's pretty easy to figure out, right? So Little Dog the Squirrel is protesting, and I have another friend, Kyle the Coyote. Apparently, he doesn't want to be in the middle of this either. This happened just yesterday. Literally happened yesterday. Here he is. Look at him. Look at that cute little one. Look at that Kyle the Coyote. That's him. Come on, little friend. Come over to the Mr. X. I love you. Look at that cute little dog. I love him. Come on. Come and see the Mr. X. We're best friends. Don't be scared. Come up. That's Kyle. You're a baby one. Where are you going? Now. Where'd that baby one go? I love him. Well, apparently he doesn't like to be in the middle of anything either, and he took off. I saw that little friend while running around after coming back from the gym. Kyle, I hope you're doing okay. You know, how many people, the question was asked, bought Kyle the Coyote from the OTT? A lot. But a lot more people bought it that weren't on the OTT and don't even know what it is. If you don't believe me, you could go to Pinellas County and check out the different libraries or check out the different places that are out there. They're out there, and they're out there. And I appreciate everybody who's ever purchased a book, but it's not solely because of Jim. That's for sure. And if you think on anything else, you're pretty crazy, because don't forget, Kyle the Coyote came out months before, 6 or 7 months before Jim even had a show. I have also maybe had a new friend. There's new information out there about people who are going to be joining and new co-hosts that are going to be joining this new Jim Terry TV. I don't want to do a promo for him, but I got a new friend. I got a new friend that's going to be joining the Mr. X News Network very soon. This is a Scottish cat that is friends with the Mr. X. He wants to join the Mr. X News Network. We're negotiating it. I don't know. We'll see. But look at this little bad one. I don't think he's very happy about it. I don't know. I don't think he wants to join. He doesn't want to be in the middle of things either. I get it. Okay. My glasses are fogging up. Mr. X News Network is all about sharing news and information. You know, you're always welcome to email me, and I don't always use it. You guys know the email, Mr. X is not loose scunt @gmail.com. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on the side here. If you got any questions about any of this stuff, and by the way, the phone number's right here. If you're a full access subscriber and throughout the weekend you have any questions about your subscription or anything, and a lot of you I've already talked to, you are welcome to call me this weekend. I'm taking calls all weekend, 310-741-0845. But I got to know who you are. I got to know who you are. Also, the Mr. X newsletter is up and running. And if you would like to be a part of that, let me write it in here. Hold on, it's going slow. Come on. It's not the 8 megabytes. Mr. X is not loose scunt @gmail.com. I still have Jim Terry TV gifts @gmail.com, but I've taken off the automatic reply to that. So that will no longer be there for people. But obviously, if you are interested in joining the newsletter or interested in any, let's just say you're part of the OTT or were part of it and you want more information, that's where you reach me at. Mr. X is not loose scunt @gmail.com, and I will help you. Jim Terry TV gifts @gmail.com. It's still open. I still have it. It's my email address. I can help you there too. You guys know about that one. But if you need to reach me, the phone number and this. If you want to be added to the newsletter, you contact me. I add your email if you're not a hater, right? I add your email. And what happens from there? You get news when I go live and when our friends go live. We do that twice a week. There is some talk, and the talk is about from me, that there will be a robocall. Okay? I have Jim's robocall list. He gave it to me. I am going to take that robocall list and probably implement it within the next week. If you want to be on the robocall in the future, we're going to talk about this. You can add your phone number. And unlike Jim, I'm not charging for it. Okay? And if you don't like the Mr. X and you want to go with Jim, you can just take yourself off. It's not a problem. We're cool. Nobody's going to attack you for liking Mr. X. And if they do, that might not be somebody you want to do business with. So with that being said, we are still live here. We got a lot of other things to talk about. Thank you for the people who are coming in on the super stickers. I'm seeing them. I got a lot of other things to discuss. Including, you know, I still think about BJ. I wonder if I reach out to BJ if she would take my calls. You know, I've never done that, but I think about BJ, who was a host on Jim Terry TV for the first year and a half, and a real nice lady. I believe, and I've never said this publicly on a show, that one of the reasons BJ left, and like I said, I've never said this. There was one time me, BJ, and Jim were on a 3-way call together, and Jim was screaming at me because he didn't get his money, because he didn't have a bank account, because he didn't have a way to receive it and all this and that. And I'm trying to send it to him, and there's no way to send it to him. He shut down a bank account. I don't remember. It was a couple years ago. And he wanted it sent to we started sending it to him once a month. Jim, the last time you got paid was on the 27th. Last time I checked, it was the 19th. I told you from the very beginning that I wasn't going to pay you every couple weeks after you lost money gambling. I've told you that. So really, I'm probably going to pay you on Tuesday once Stripe shuts down, but I'm not in any kind of timeline to pay you. And we'll get into the payment. Jim claiming that he contacted LAPD or LA sheriffs. By the way, I spoke to the people at the Pacific Division. Jim, you're not telling the truth. I spoke to them. And the greatest thing about that, Jim, is much like your friend Salty Pancakes, let's just say you do have to file something. California is a right to an accuser. So you would have to come to the Mr. X if you have any problems. I am going to pay you, but I got some questions too. For example, we get paid from Indavo for Stripe, from Roku, because you have to have a payment cycle for Roku, and from Amazon Prime. Where's my money for that? I contacted them today. They're probably going to send that to you. So where's my money? It's probably not a ton, because I know there's not many people that sign up through Roku or Fire Stick. But still, I did all the work, and it's for 3 months. So you bitching about not having a StreamYard for 2 weeks, I mean, it's more than a wash. If you get that money, you're going to get a lot more money than I would. So it's a lot of bitching and griping. And you knew what the rules were when we signed up for this. The reason you don't have a StreamYard is because back in the day, you screwed over Miss T. You gave her a prepaid card. She started paying it for you. And then when you wouldn't send her the money, I set up a StreamYard. I've had that StreamYard ever since, 3.5 years. So that's the truth. Thank you, Tingle Booze. I got that. So with that being said, I got a bunch of other information and just one other slick news. I'm talking about BJ and thinking about BJ. I hope she's out there doing well with her baby. I'm not going to say that she's a big fat pig now and make fun of somebody. Here's another difference between Jim and I. I look at what people have done positively for me over the years, and Jim looks at it like, what have you done for me lately? BJ doesn't owe us anything. Johnny Yarborough doesn't owe us anything. Texas Granny or Barbara Buffalo, and I'm dropping a few names of the more well-known people, they don't owe us anything. We owe them a thank you, and that's what this show's about. So BJ did the Dinosaur Land show when I was in Florida last time in 2024, which, by the way, Jim, you were in Florida a couple months ago hiding. You've been in Florida 5 or 6 times since I've been in Florida, and you never went live once except that time you were at Disney, and you got that shirt from Kathy Fagan. She paid for it, and then you never showed it. I mean, I'm just saying, that's the only time you went live, and you want to talk about people who are cowards and this and that and all that stuff. I went live, and Fumblenut said I wouldn't. I called him out. I was there. What did you do? You called the cops. That's the difference between you and me. You call the cops, and I don't. I was going to go to Dinosaur World. It was right after a hurricane, and it didn't happen. A couple months before that, there was a hurricane in Florida in 2024, and I wanted to go. BJ went to Disney, Dinosaur Land. I wanted to go to Dinosaur World. That was a conversation. But now there is a place that has dinosaurs and a small train ride a little bit east of Los Angeles. So this looks pretty interesting. Maybe at some point I will check this out. You go through this little small train, and there's a couple dinosaurs. There's some park. I forget what it's called. Mini train rides. I get all this stuff about LA. This is one of a lot of things on the way to Yamava that I could do. And like I said, I am never afraid to show up anywhere. Jim is. Jim is afraid, and I think you guys know the reason why he's afraid to show up. The counting of the numbers going down, 24 months, 23 months. I mean, I've never hid from anybody. Mr. X, you won't show up in court? I've been there. I've been there. I've shown up. I've always been there. So some shenanigans. Maybe BJ, if you see this one day, we'll do that in the future. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. 2 more quick things before I get into the full stuff about Jim. Pittsburgh Steelers news. You guys know that I'm a Steelers fan, Mean Green Steelers fan. Rodgers is helping one of the younger QBs, kind of leans to him, Aaron Rodgers, 4-time MVP, that he's probably not going to be back next year. The offensive line is legit. Rodgers, 4-time MVP. There's only one person who's ever been a 5-time MVP. Second year, but a new coach. I think they can make a run. I know people like Eric Foss. Jim's new audience, Eric Foss and Michelle Meltdown. His new audience over there, which, by the way, they don't give you $1. And they're only drama. They're fighting each other, beating the shit. Jim, that's your new audience. That's your new audience, okay? The thing is, I don't think the Ravens could beat the Steelers. They didn't do it last year. We'll see what happens. I always talk about my Steelers. Thank you, Tennessee Gambler, for sending that in. I heard there was a lot of talk. I talked mostly to Tennessee Gambler this week about the Steelers, not the stuff that's going on. Jim mentioned traveling fools. He's not one of the 25 or 30 people that I've spoke to, by the way. I have not heard traveling fools. He doesn't like to be in the middle of this stuff, and I don't even know if he's around. The guy travels a lot. That's kind of the thing. So, one more thing. Thank God the Department of Justice is going after Gavin Newsom. Good. Gavin Newsom is a piece of shit. Even though I'm not registered to vote in the past, I have signed petitions to get that piece of shit recalled. I don't know anybody that likes him. And a lot of people, I heard in some chat, they said, Mr. X, is he woke? Well, I don't think you guys understand what the term woke is. Not all of you, but whoever this hater is. I think woke, if I'm not mistaken, originally came from liberals. It came from liberals. Mr. X is going to explain something again, says Jim, because they would be woken up to the idea that they might not be getting a fair chance. And somewhere along the line, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong, or I got a problem with either side on this part of it. Somewhere along the line, woke became this kind of conservative thing of somebody who is far left or something like that. Listen, when I was in New Orleans for 5 years, Jim always likes to talk that he's part of an HBCU. By the way, when Jim was at Clark Atlanta, he was there for like 5 months. I was in New Orleans for 5 years. Jim has not been around black people for very long. Certainly doesn't give him the right as a white man to say the N-word. I don't like to use words unless it's really in the context of a joke that are going to hurt people for no reason, especially when you know that person, Jim's been my girlfriend for 15 years. When I've been, and I haven't talked about your girlfriend, and I could, or is she something else? We'll get to that later. But the fact is this. You see all these openings, you see all this stuff. A lot of that is because of her. She taught me how to edit. I'll get into that a little bit more later too. It's very unfair. And the reason that this woman is my girlfriend is not because I'm Robert De Niro and I want to date black women and I'm woke. It's because I care about her for her. If she was Asian, it wouldn't be any different. If she was white, it wouldn't be any different. If she had a big, nasty tattoo and smoked cigarettes on the back of my parents' porch, it wouldn't be any different. It wouldn't be. If she had bastards from somebody that I hated, it wouldn't be any different. It just wouldn't be. But the fact of the matter is, I care about her for her. It doesn't matter what she is. I met her on a film set. There's a lot of similar goals. There's a similar age. There's a lot of similar things. That's whoever said that about being woke, that's not the case. Let me tell you something about Mr. X. I have voted 3 times in my life. The first time I ever voted, I actually voted Republican. I voted for Bob Dole because I thought Bill Clinton wasn't doing a good job. He lost. Then years later, after George W. Bush ruined the economy, for the first term, I voted for Obama. I didn't vote for Obama the second time because I don't think that he did a good job of changing anything at that point. And then when it was Hillary versus Trump, I didn't like either of them. And I voted for Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate. 3 times voting in my life for president, 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and 1 Libertarian candidate. I'm not part of any political party. I'm the ultimate independent. I'm a lean financially conservative. Jim financially is very liberal, but socially, I am liberal. I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't care if gay people get married. I think women should have the right to choose. But I'll tell you what, either way, I don't fit in with either side on the political spectrum. I believe people should have their gun rights. I don't own any guns, but I believe people should have that, right? Jim has never voted in his life. I don't know if he's ever paid taxes in his life. You'd have to ask him that. I don't know. But I can tell you this. I think I'm a very level-headed, even-keeled person that's been fair with this audience. A lot of people have contacted me, Jim, and said they are only comfortable with the Mr. X running the stripe. They are only people you know. I'm not going to say their names. A lot of people have said that. More than 5 of that 25 or 30. That's just the ones that have reached out to me. Do what you want. No business interference here from me. Okay? But, and I hope Jim does a good job. I really does. I do. Really do. But getting back to the point with the political aspect of being woke, I'm all over the spectrum when it comes to these different topics. I was about to sign up to vote, and I did sign up, and then I told him I don't want it because I was going to vote for Spencer Pratt and over Nithya Raman and Karen Bass. If you've watched XNN, I have gone on and on and on about what a piece of shit Karen Bass is. That doesn't sound like I'm woke. That just sounds like a guy who cares about Los Angeles and cares about where he lives. Let's stop using these bullshit terms and labels on people when you don't know the person. But some of you do kind of know me. I mean, it's not like I haven't had 420 shows on Jim Terry TV. And Jim says that there shouldn't be a Mr. X and Mr. X should have a pre-show and this and that. Mr. X TV was Jim Terry TV. If JimTerryTV.com didn't exist, I would have suggested the OTT be called the Terry Brothers or the Terrys. He just happened to have the website. There was no star of that show. There's no star of over one network. There's a bunch of shows. And the content that I provided, doesn't matter if it's Mr. X News Network, which doubles up Jim Terry TV, and Crab Legs Friday. I'm not going to count Crab Legs Friday. It's a free show. Public. It's free. People are paying $30. I care about the shows that are behind the paywall. Night Owl Network was my design. Jim dropped the ball on that. I picked it up. Even the first show Jim wasn't at. Go look. I carried the ball there. XNN destroys Jim in content, in quality, in quantity. We'll get into that later. It's not even close. And when it comes to Jim Terry TV, go look at the last couple shows. The same shit over and over again. He's talking about Janelle. He's talking about Angel Gotti. What's new? He's talking about Kurt Wadsworth out in the desert. He did some pranks to Len Denton, which we've done 5 times. BJ hasn't been on the show in a year and a half. And we did those pranks with her a year and a half ago. He's not the star. He's just the person collecting money and doing no work. I can prove that. And I will. Let me get into the chat and say thank you to a few people real quick before I move on here. Thank you to everybody who's here with me and on these super stickers, super chats. Let's read them off real quick, just a few of them. Here's Adele. There she is. She's a fan of Mr. X. She's in Canada. Have a great show, $13.99. Thank you, Adele. I'm not going to mention your boobies. A lady who's been there through thick and thin, and I appreciate her. I tell you what, I deleted a lot of photos off of, there's Miss Texas. I deleted a lot of photos off of this streaming thing that were Jim, but one of them I didn't delete off of Miss Texas is the photo of you. I'll never forget all the stuff that you've done for us. We don't know a ton about you, but we know you've been a supporter, and I'm glad that you've been a supporter. I'm glad you've been with us. And I'm glad you've been with me. Thank you. And you're very smart that we don't know who you are, so that way you're not in the middle of this. Thank you for being a part of what we do. Thank you to all these ladies and gentlemen who are a big part of what the Mr. X does now, which is just me worrying about myself. Speaking of another really nice person, it's Amanda. Whoa, out in Australia. There she is. Bang! Keep doing what you're doing, Mr. X. I'll be here. A very nice lady, $80 Australian. Very humbling. Thank you, Amanda. That means a lot to me. Also, another very nice lady who I'm friends with, Little Willow. I don't know if she has a picture of the dog still. Is that her with the dog? I don't know. Maybe it's somebody else. No, that looks like a Peanuts thing. Thank you, Little Willow. By the way, when I watched some of Jim's show the other day, horrible quality, no mic. Yeah, you got to have good quality. No super stickers. Interesting. Does that mean you're not monetized, Jim? Jim, you remember when I said to you that if I left the OTT, you would be back on YouTube and you would be nothing but a YouTube banned creator? Remember I said that? I hope I'm wrong. Good luck with JimTerryTV.com. I hope you do well. I really do. But the last 3 years, I know how much work that is. I've done it all. Everything that's up there is mine. I mean, you could have it, but I did it, right? Now you're the monkey. Now you got to do it. Good luck. Tingle Boots, another nice lady. There she is, a cute dog. The dog has turned into an AI dog. I appreciate it. Speaking of nice women who have been getting our back, it is Kathy Fagan. There she is with her family. Thank you, Kathy. I hope I can provide some entertainment. You know, not everything might be for everybody's consumption, but my idea of XNN would be like, I do the show and we have our core audience, Kathy, that's always there. And then, like, let's say somebody like a Tennessee Gambler who works, he might not watch the show and he don't like this subject. Well, you could skip through that. You could skip through that. When you have 85% of the content and you're providing a ton of content like I have, you could skip through that. Maybe there's something that's boring. Maybe the people right here don't want to hear this section about me talking about super stickers. They could skip through that. But I give you enough content where there's some meat on the bone and you can listen in a variety of things that you can listen to whatever you want. And I hope that helps you with all the stuff that you have going on. I don't know this lady, but Destiny Grant, thank you. We're from the bushes. I don't know you, but you're welcome here. I don't think I know you, but I hope I do. And with super stickers like that, $19.99, guys, don't be afraid of Jim. He can't do anything to you. The only thing he could do is being an annoyance from a distance. He will not be anywhere in public. He can't be. He can't be in public. So the veiled threats of law enforcement and this and that. Let me explain to you something real quick. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you for those. Here's how you get rid of Jim. Block him on your emails. If he's calling you and he's calling you over and over again, block him on your phone. Now he calls you from a private number. In the settings in the top right corner of your phone on Android, click the settings. There, it looks like a gear. Sometimes it's 3 dots depending on your phone. And then there's like a blue button that you turn over to the side. It's at the top. And it says, don't allow, or something to this effect. Don't allow private numbers. Now he can't call you from a private number because all private numbers are gone. He is now effectively gone. If he wants to go harass you from a distance, then he could go do that. But let me tell you, a lot of the times when he was saying things that he would talk to people was all bullshit. He would say a lot of times he did talk to people, you know, like, for example, I'll give you one. I could talk about who I talked about today, you know, but we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later, because if Jim wants to go live against the Mr. X, we'll do that. And we'll see what's going on. So we're getting here live. Let me get into the chat. Let me say hi to some people that are here. You know what? Thank you guys. I'm not going to bring your screen names up on there. But if you do have any questions, I will answer them. And I will answer them as fair as I can. And if I may, one big piece of news before I forget about it. This weekend is Father's Day. Ironically, Jim, this weekend is Father's Day. And I always talk about this every Father's Day and Mother's Day. Now, that's just usually the part where you say, hey, happy Father's Day to the fathers or to the mothers. No. I mean, obviously that too. But there's something very important that happens on Father's Day. What is that? What is that important thing that happens on Father's Day? Is it you spend time with your father? Maybe. Spend time with your family? Maybe. I don't know. Here's what I'm going to be doing. Bang! Buy one, get one free this weekend at Raising Cane's. Sunday and Monday, always on Father's and Mother's Day. Don't have the sleeve tattooed like that. Get to Raising Cane's and get your free buy one, get one. People complain about the price, but I can tell you this, when you get that much chicken and it's that good and that sauce is that good, they're not an advertiser for me, but I always get the buy one, get one free. Raising Cane's on Father's and Mother's Day. I got to tell you about it. All you need is their card, and they'll give you a buy one, get one free. You get the card for free. There you go. So getting back in the chat, man, it's hot in here. I'm sweating my ass off. Now, folks, is the part that you want to hear about me and Jim Terry TV and my withdrawal from Jim Terry TV. And in order to do this fairly, I do want to come off camera so I can get a little bit more organized and speak to you guys. And keep an eye on the chat there. If you're there, Texas Granny, you are there. Raising Cane's. That's right. Texas Granny, take the grandkids to Raising Cane's. And by the way, you don't have to be a man. You could be a woman. I go in there on Mother's Day and I get to buy one, get one. You know, you could go in there and the kids get the Raising Cane's. I mean, if there's a couple kids there and you have the box combo, which is four Raising Cane's and a bunch of fries, I mean, that's probably 3 kids, a meal for 3 kids. It's probably plenty. Anyway, it's probably plenty for 3 kids. But with that being said, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of why everybody's here and the big numbers are here. I wanted to kind of give off a public statement of why I left Jim Terry TV. You know, I did this for 4 years. Jim Terry TV and all the other stuff for 1 year on YouTube, and the OTT right around this time 3 years ago, 3 years. That has earned hundreds of thousands of dollars. Jim has no knowledge, no experience, no ability. He said on a show, yeah, Guillermo's a good guy. Yeah, Jim, you were making fun of Guillermo for being from another country and making fun of Paul Oz. And the fact of the matter is, you could have been dealing with these guys 3 years ago. And then we find out your internet is the reason those shows, and your buddy, Brandon Havel, is the reason those shows were going down, laying pipe. Wow, he's got a rude awakening coming in. Spectrum's really deep into that now. Not good. Not good for him. And I got the call proving that you don't. You all know how difficult Jim is, especially when it comes to money. Jim is money motivated. You guys know that. And I don't think there's anything overly wrong with that, but I think there's something wrong with being money motivated when there's nothing wrong. Let me get this right. There's nothing wrong with being money motivated, but when you get into a point where you're taking people's money and you're not doing the work, that's an issue. He's going to get his money, yes. But dealing with these companies, as you guys know, like Indavo and Stripe and other people, takes time to get things sorted out. He can't just pull the plug on me and expect to get his money the next day. Now, for people like SoFlo, by the way, I want to make this very, very clear. Take this at the 51-minute mark, right? We already have a declaration from Indavo Media that says Jim Terry owns Jim Terry TV. Okay, it's already signed. It's already sent in. You can't add in any more evidence. It's done. So that I'm talking about the situation down in San Diego. We have a declaration from that guy that already says Jim Terry TV is owned by Jim Terry. JimTerryTV.com is owned by Jim Terry. It always has been. I spoke to that hosting company today and made sure that my company cards weren't on there anymore, and I won't be getting billed for that. That's another thing that I was paying for. But anyways, the point is this. I want to prove to you, even though I don't have to, that Jim removed me. So here's how it worked. I told Jim I'm leaving the OTT. I gave my farewell, show, which is available. You can watch it actually for free on Jim Terry TV, Mr. X News Network on Monday. It's available right now. You go watch it, right? I gave my farewell show. I had the right to do that, I think, after all the time that I put in. And I left. And by the way, there hasn't been a show since, and it's Friday. There has not been a show since, and it's Friday. I gave Jim the RTMP code to do Jim Terry TV on Tuesday. He didn't do it. I had that point had blocked Jim, blocked him everywhere. I start getting calls from Paul from Indavo. Jim wants to have a 3-way phone call with you. I really didn't want to do it. And this is after a point where he's trying to put my mom in the middle. My mom won't answer his calls. He's going to call a welfare check on my mom. I mean, it's just out of control. It's out of control. Typically, when Jim gets this out of control, there's 2 things that are going on in his life. Either he has no money, in my opinion, from gambling, or there's something going on in his personal life that isn't going very well. Okay? Just being 100% honest here. Happy Friday, everybody. Kathy Fagan comes in. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with me. And there she is, Texas Granny. Very out of control. Oops, I didn't mean to put that. I don't want to put Texas Granny. So with that being said, I go on there. Now, Jim has threatened to call the cops on me, just like he did Fumble Nuts. Jim threatened he was going to beat my ass. I don't know how he's going to do that from across the country where he can't show up anywhere. And by the way, there's no Sunday rule in Los Angeles. You can't show up anywhere. You can't. If you do, you're scared of getting served. Obviously, I'm not. I'm a man who stood up to it. You're not the same kind of ilk. When I said that I was going to be out there in Las Vegas, I was out there. That's the fact. Just like with Watch Your Crazy. So I get on this three-way call with Jim and Indavo, and what happens? What happens? SoFlo, I want you to hear this. This happened on Tuesday. And by the way, SoFlo, you're another person who hides too, all the time. I would love to do a thing, but I don't need to prove myself. Put a 10-minute clock, either Jim or SoFlo or any one of these haters, and show where you are. So you go from your live, from where you're at. You put up a 10-minute clock. Now, I've been live for 50 minutes. You know where I'm at, right? And then you put in a 10-minute clock, give yourself time to get away from where you live, and show a cross street maybe a couple miles from where you live. I guarantee you neither one of them will do that, because you see that from SoFlo, he'd be somewhere in fucking Cuba or Mexico. Now, he'll do that in a couple weeks when he might be doing a job in Orlando, but he wouldn't do it at a whim like I've done over and over and over again. You guys generally know the area I live in. So here's the phone call, and it's going to look similar to this. But obviously, this is not going to have a backdrop. This is a 20-second phone call of Jim removing me, his first ever action, removing me from the OTT. Here it is. Before we start real quick, I just want to inform everybody, I am recording this call because I've been threatened and harassed by Jim. So I want to have this. He's been talking about calling law enforcement. So if you guys are not comfortable with recording this call, then just please get off the call now. We'll end everything right now. But I am recording.
You've already been removed from the OTT. I'm letting you know that now.
Okay, well, there's my new proof. Jim's first action of going into the OTT after 3 years, he always had admin access. He never used it. He goes in there, and the first thing he does is remove Mr. X admin from the OTT. Fine. That proves he owns it too. I'm not on my own OTT. If I own it, I got removed from it. And why did I want to be on the OTT? Why would I want to be on there? Because Stripe doesn't give you the information that I would have. And I can talk about this a little bit more later when we get into customer service stuff. Stripe, like, I know you guys mostly from your screen names. So I know the screen names, but when it comes over to Stripe and its email addresses, and then maybe you have a vanilla gift card or whatever, I don't know that. I wanted to have access to the OTT so I could be able to see that. Once that happened, I immediately took Stripe off of the OTT and removed Indavo's access from it. We'll get into this. I know I keep saying this. We'll get into this in a little bit. This has to do with your billing if you're a full access subscriber. You people that have been involved in it, I'll explain how that's going to work going in the future if you still have a subscription over there. So Jim removed me. I got hey, SoFlo, got a declaration with the court, and I have this. Good luck. If I own it, why am I not part of it? Riddle me that. Anyway, Kathy Fagan says, 263 people watching, only 61 likes. Come on, people. Well, you can like it, you cannot like it. I prefer the Cash Apps. I don't ask for them a lot. I like them better. And good God. I'm glad that I still have the all these backdrops and all that, because I removed Jim from that opening like that. Jim's removed from that opening like that. I didn't do nothing. I already had that ready to go. Now you can clip that. How about that? So continuing on here, as I kind of go back and forth with some of this information, he can't just pull the plug on me. Jim can't pull the plug on me. And then he pulls the plug on me, like you heard, and expect the next day for me to pay him. The last time I paid him was the 29th. It's the 19th. I told him I'd pay him once a month. And there are customers out there that potentially need to be made whole. There are customers out there that I had to refund because it took a few days for Stripe to remove itself from the OTT. So these people weren't getting billed again and building it again. I think there was more than a handful that Jim wants me to pay for that. So the OTT gets 25%, Stripe gets a percentage, and Jim and I split the rest, right? If we split the rest of what's left over, I got to pay for it? Huh? No. That's not the way it works. Whatever's left over after I made everybody whole, you'll get what's ever left over. And I'm hoping that's by Tuesday, which will be earlier than the 19th, by the way. Okay. So when I have the money, and by the way, there was still money coming in as of yesterday because it takes 72 to 48 hours for money to come in from the shows that I did on Jim Terry TV that you weren't even at. When I have the money and everything's all settled up, you'll get paid. Have I ever not paid you? Now, here's the thing, guys. He's been busy trying to bait me into some kind of flame war. That's the exact content and the main reason thing I've been trying to get away from. It just escalates and escalates into something nobody wants to see, fighting with the same bullshit haters. Tuesday, he tried to dox what he thought my girlfriend's work was. He tried to dox that. And he's been attacking her nonstop, trying to, basically what his goal is he wants to attack my girlfriend so I go scorched earth on him. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give haters that much content. I'm not going to do it. Which would just make if I went scorched earth on Jim, which I could, believe me, there's nobody who knows more than Jim than me. Okay. If I went scorched earth on Jim, that would just make you people who like both of us hate me. I'm not going to do that. I encourage you to like Jim. I think it's cheap manipulation, and frankly, I'm not falling for it. My girlfriend has helped me so much. By the way, I mentioned she taught me how to edit. All the filming and stuff and all the shenanigans are on actually her time. She has never asked for anything. You want to hear a secret? Do you know I didn't talk to Jim for 3 years before the streaming started? Do you know why I didn't talk to Jim for 3 years and why Jim was surprised why I came up on the on his Jim Terry TV on YouTube? Because he called my girlfriend the N-word years ago. And when I saw these people attacking Jim and attacking the family, and I knew I have more skill at this than Jim, more skill as a host. By the way, being a loudmouth is not talent. More skill at producing. I'm not directing, Jim. You can't. Sorry about that, petitioner. More skill at all these things. You got to be a businessman too. You got to come up with ideas, suggestions, all those things. You got to go out in real life, IRLs. If you're taking people's money, $30 a month, you got to put in the work. That's what I've done. Sometimes the best ability is availability. Jim, you haven't had much availability over the last couple months, and I'm going to talk about that in depth here in a second or two. He's trying to dox my girlfriend, who's basically done nothing but help him. And he doesn't even know that. I mean, Jim says, I can't believe that they would spend $1,000 on that opening, the Jim Terry TV opening. Yes, that's what you do. I got no problem going down to one of these podcast places that have like everything on camera. It's $350 an hour and doing that once a month. When you're making that much money, yes, that number is real, Fumble Nuts. Why would I leave it, Fumble Nuts, you're asking? Because I don't work for a chicken shit company. People leave multi-million. Look at the cast of Seinfeld. They could have got $10 million each for the last season. The reason I left is because of Jim and the creative differences and the way you can't grow it. You can't grow it. By the way, my girlfriend's been nothing but kind to Jim. She let him, and after all that stuff that Jim said, stay in our place where we lived in New Orleans, cooked for him, and then he attacks her, calls her the N-words, threatens to call a job. He feels like he isn't getting his money fast enough. And that wasn't even really the final straw. It's ridiculous. And I don't think that she deserves that. And I frankly don't deserve that either. Jim wants to talk about Good Morning Antioch. Jim, do you know that the reason, and I've told you this 20 times, that Good Morning Antioch only has a couple hundred views? Because the live action version of that was made for the hearing impaired. There was a whole podcast that was out there, and she wanted to make something specifically for the hearing impaired audience. It was never supposed to. I got more people here, maybe live, than some of the videos have. But I tell you what, she didn't have the drama that you've caused me. She never got. I would rather have 100 people watching me than be involved in the drama and be pulled into court because of things that you've said. Granted, you're allowed to have your freedom of speech, but when I see that petitioner talking, he's mostly talking about you, things you've said. I didn't talk about that. I wasn't involved in that. I'm the one who told those people to leave us alone. Go look at Rumble chapter 84. That's also added into evidence. We'll get back to that later too. I don't think she deserves it. And I was thinking about retaliating against Jim and going deep. I mean, I could talk about the woman in his life. That was my first impulse. He's got a lot of skeletons, as you guys know. Jim's not a drug addict and all this and that these haters say. He's not. But I think that was the whole point of me leaving, is because I didn't want to be in this kind of drama. I wanted to get away from this drama, hater drama, right? Not then turn around and start it over with Jim. It's really sad. It's sad because I love doing this with Jim. I really love doing it with Jim. It hurts me. Okay? But I got to put myself first at sometimes. I love you guys too. All the people who have been around there with the Mr. X. I spent 3 or 4 years with you guys. I've talked to some of you people, and not that there's like an issue or anything, but like I'm spending more time than you than I talk to my mom on the phone. And I love my mom, right? It's nothing against her, but I'm just saying I spent a lot of time with you guys. It's really sad. And, I want him to do well. If he wants to do it on his own, that's fine. He wants to remove me. I said I was going anyway. That's fine. But I don't see why he feels like he needs to shit all over everything we built in order to do that. That's the problem. And if I'm really honest with myself and the audience, he's only using the hater content to push me out. He's been trying to do that for a while now. More on that in a bit. Breaking into shows, not showing up for shows, telling me to take a break when he's not even there himself. After I worked my ass off to build that thing for him, he's the band creator, not me. He's been ready to one-up me and move on first with Angel Gotti and then this new person. That's fine. And I am relieved to an extent to be done with all the popping up and all the bullshit. He won't pop up over here. That's for sure. I'm not telling anybody not to go over there. I'm here because I want to do the same fun content, go to places and do lives like I've always done, but I'm going to do it here on YouTube. I wish Jim the best, even though he's treating me like other shit. Obviously, I wish everybody in my family the best, and I'm not stopping talking to any of them. I talk more to people in my family than Jim does, okay? And this audience that I helped build, that he crapped over last week, when he shit all over these moderators and moderators who, I'm not mentioning any names, who send in super stickers every show. Let me tell you this is a safe place. If you like Jim and you sign up for his OTT, that's cool. I'm not telling anybody to go anywhere. Like I said, always on his show, I always look at what Jim does and I go the opposite way because I know where Jim is at in his life is not as the high level as I am at my life. That's not disrespectful. Jim's got a Rolling Stone article. Somebody else has been in the Hollywood Reporter. And I can prove how disliked Jim is. You want a piece of proof? This isn't shit talking. There is no question at all that Jim has played Arena 1, which is the highest level, even though Arena 1 has sunk, in my opinion, below the NIFL, I think is the name. And Jim has played Arena 2 years ago. I think the combination of all those combined is like 3 or 4 games. I could be wrong. He would know more about it than me. There's a website out there that's like the IMDb for arena football players, right? It's the IMDb of arena football players. It's called Arena Fan. Okay? There is no question Jim deserves to be on Arena Fan. Why isn't Jim listed on Arena Fan? The guys who run it, and they have nothing to do with YouTube, fucking hate his guts. They hate his fucking guts. That's the truth. And Jim wants to question why I won't bring Hollywood people, as he calls it, onto his show. Jim, the first ever guest on this show was Richard Miles, the psychic who did the reading on Dylan Rounds. You remember that? Do you remember the exothermic guy that came on because you didn't have anybody and I covered your ass? A lot of those guests were for me. But do you think that I'm going to bring somebody's wife on here that I'm close with so you could shit all over them? No. Look what you did to Janelle. I delivered her food. You shit all over her. A week after she took her top off and did a show for you, and I sent her more money than you do. And I thought it was a bad idea to do the show. It's fucking ridiculous. The big coup de grace is coming up. Stick with me. This is a safe place. If you're over here, like I said, Jim can't do anything to you. If you want to sign up for his new OTT, whatever that is, I'm not going to tell you to not go over there. Go over there, have a good time. I want to explain in a bit here how I'm going to explain at the end how I could do the customer service. But I want to explain first why I decided to leave. Now, in that little spiel there, I talked about some of it. Number one is creative differences. That's number one. I know Jim's going to blame it on, he got served, he got this. No. Creative differences. If you've watched the OTT, you've heard me fight with Jim about this for years. Mainly Jim only wanting to do lazy hater content, really nothing original. Jim logging on a few minutes before the show and telling me, Mr. X, I got nothing tonight. I said, dude, we could just go up there and talk about the news. We could talk about Gavin Newscomb. We could talk about some goofy stuff with cats, anything. These people like us. Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm sick today. How many times are you sick, dude? I had COVID and I did shows. There's only one show I ever missed over 3 years. Jim not getting my back. By the way, I mentioned this earlier. I even sent Jim the RTMP code and the stream key for Jim Terry TV, and he has not done a Jim Terry TV for like a couple weeks. He could have done it. He had the information. I don't even know if he's got a StreamYard. Jim not getting here's another reason. Jim not getting my back with the Brandon Havel situation laying pipe, where this guy literally committed fraud by going into people's routers and modems. There's a program that with Spectrum that's called Scope. It's like the drink Scope. And that guy was illegally using Scope back in 2023. I'm not going to get into whose place that is and why she was on that. She was on somebody else's thing. You could say whatever you want, Jim. You haven't been here in years. You don't know. And why I was streaming from over there. But the fact of the matter is, you not getting my back and telling laying pipe that you want to bring him up as a special guest is fucking ridiculous. That would be like me going up to Salty Pancake, say, hey, you want to come up as a special guest after he read off your social security number. 20 and Alice, you want to know why you're not over here? That's why. You moderated for that piece of shit who read off Jim's social security number. I want nothing to do with you. Don't email me again. I want to explain this to you guys too, something I've never talked about. At the beginning of this, Jim and I made an agreement. I would help Jim, but I would only help Jim do his OTT if we had something called E&O insurance, errors and omissions insurance, which is if you get sued, if Jim gets sued or I get sued or anybody's company gets sued, you have insurance. And we know how Jim could talk out of turn. And if Jim were to get sued, he would get the benefit of it. If I were to get sued or something happened, I would get the benefit of it. We both paid at the max $20 a month for 3 years. We've always had it. It was my idea to get it. Jim is not owed that money back. That money will go towards this court case when we win. That's how E&O insurance works. And lucky for that petitioner, when we win, he won't owe me all $3,500. Now, the E&O insurance company, just like every insurance company, is trying not to pay it. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get it. And I'm certainly not going to commit fraud and double dip. If I get the E&O insurance money, which there is a giant deductible for it too, so I wouldn't get the entire $3,500. I'd only get a portion of it. Jim's mentioning people paid for the lawyer. Prove it. Prove it. So that insurance is there. It was there for the benefit of both of us. In fact, you can add up the numbers of what $20, and it was less than $20 at first, each person for 36 months. You could figure that mathematics out. And I paid 20, Jim paid 20. You're not getting that back, Jim. You're not finding out who that insurance company is. So you can harass them, and then they definitely don't have a reason to pay that off. No way. That was for the benefit of either ours. And when we parted our ways, I took that over. Now I'm paying for the full amount. You're not. So that's the truth on that. Jim's lack of attendance and interest is another giant reason that I had to be done. I've talked about this to a bunch of people on shows, and I want to share with you guys something right now, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm not talking down anybody. I'm not being disrespectful to anybody, and I'm not in a chat, so I'm not really seeing it because I got some notes here. But I want you guys to see something. I want to share something with you. And I had this recorded just in case Jim ended up taking some of this stuff down. By the way, everything you see on the top here, that logo in the top left, all this stuff, all designed by me. Jim never designed anything. Okay. Let's go back to April 20th and Jim's show here, April 21st. Okay. April 20th. So we're going to do, it is the 19th. So that's 2 months. See it right here, right? I've already done the math for you. Jim does a show because 2 minutes before the show, which I told Jim that I might not be on the show, this 54-minute show where he gave up. This is for all of you full access subscribers. This is one of the reasons I wanted to leave, because I didn't feel comfortable taking your money. Look at this. He did a 54-minute show because he signed in, and what I was doing was putting the shows on syndication, which means that Friday or Tuesday show would start at the next week. Well, the previous week's show, you see, is called To Be Continued. That was when the court case happened. It started at 4:30, right? Because the court case was earlier in the day. That show syndicated till the next 4:30. Jim signs in at 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm talking all these times Pacific. And he doesn't realize, so he just does a show live to tape and quits. I feel bad that night I do an hour and 45-minute show. Jim's next show, Liar. Angel Gotti and that headstone. Again, how long has Edna been dead? Like a year? The next one, here we back to Janelle again. Janelle and, Cheese getting kicked out. More new news. Not like that hasn't happened 20 times before. This show, pretty fun. The autism, Jim tells a story about him being in Florida, about a kid with autism and screening. Like, you could have, Jim, you know what you should have done on that is, it would have been great if you would have had footage of that. But you won't go live when you're in Florida, right? So he told it, but he couldn't show it. Next show, in the trailer, all these thumbnails and AI photos created by the Mr. X, by the way, about Kurt Wadsworth having gay sex with somebody in a trailer. How many times have we heard this? Okay, that's what you want to talk about? Dylan Rounds has been dead for years, by the way. When cowards attack. SoFlo, more bullshit. Okay? Oh, my God. We'll go on the next week. His last ever show on Jim Terry TV. Today's the 19th, June 2nd, The Quickening. By the way, I'm on every one of his shows. What happens? He does some pranks to Len Denton, the grappler. I mean, it's not like we haven't pranked that guy like 5 or 6 times already, years ago. There's some fun stuff in that. This week, you see it's called Next Week, Mr. X waving goodbye. He doesn't show up. This show right here, Electricity is Organized Lightning, is Mr. X on the entire show. So these shows right here, folks, 15 hours. And if you look at it, these two shows here, this special live and the Electricity is Organized Lightning, is 3 hours. On Jim Terry TV, I had 3 hours. And on that same channel, Jim had 15. He says it's the #1 program and it should be Mr. X News Network should be a pre-show. Are you sure? You're charging these people a lot of money. Now let's go to Mr. X News Network and let's look at the content that slaughters Jim Terry TV. I said, let's go back to April 20th. Here it is right here. Happens to be the 400th episode. Jim Terry TV doesn't even have 200. Doubled him up. And we're not talking about Crab Legs Friday, which is a free money grab that people like Watcher Crazy and people like Eric Foss could watch for free. I care about, yeah, Jim, you make $70 or $100, but these people are giving you $30. Behind the paywall is where you make money. But you need money this weekend for the gambling, right? Now look at all these shows. I've already done the work for you. The Rondo Awards, which I wasn't even supposed to go live that day, but that's an extra bonus show. The majority of these shows, Jim wasn't even on, right? Those shows, excluding this one right here, which was a live to tape where I went to Yamava Casino and the LA County Fair, 38 hours. 38 plus 3, 41. 41 verse 15. 41. Mr. X News Network is supposed to be a pre-show. It is the show. It is the main show by far. Let's add them. 41 divided by, or 15 divided by 41. How much percentage, and I was on all your shows, by the way, too. How much percentage did you actually have? So if it's 56 hours, we'll do the math here. Your shows represent 26% of the content behind the paywall. 26%. So let's just round it out and let's just say 75% of the content is Mr. X. 25% is the content is you, because I was all on your shows and you weren't on mine. And then all the time to do all the customer service and everything else. Why are you getting half? I've done 85% of the work. Okay, well, that's bickering. Who cares, right? But let's talk about where Jim has been over the last 2 months, right? Where has he been? What has he been doing that he can't be live? Well, there's 3 things. And you guys have never heard this one, so you might want to tune in and go tell the haters. Jim went to Florida in that time frame. He went to Florida. Didn't call out fumble nuts like I did when I was in Florida. He always goes to Florida, but it's private when he goes. He comes back, he's sick. I carry the ball. By the way, he says I'm too busy and I'm too caught up in stuff. During that time frame, Jim played 2 football games. You know what? I found one of those football games on YouTube. Now, I could play the football game, right? I mean, I could play it. It's not flattering to Jim for me to play it. That's why he's never shown it to you. That's all I'm going to say. It's not flattering to Jim. And even if it wasn't flattering to Jim, there's a section in one of the games where a guy breaks a tackle and Jim tackles him. And it's hard to tell, but the audio goes out. Then the video goes out. By the way, Jim, your friend over there, Chris, yeah, spoke to some people over there today too. Not going to get into that too much, but you're speaking to people in Century City. Yeah, I'm speaking to people that know Chris. But here's what happens. Jim gets tackled, and I think the guy, like, as he's running the football, knees Jim in like the ribs. Jim was complaining about being injured. And in the footage of the game, Jim gets up. Fumble nuts, I never said Jim was a pussy. You are. Jim gets up and tackles the guy. And all these flags come up. Jim goes to the audience and starts pounding his chest. There's not very many people there, but the 100 that are there, there's more people here watching me live. The 100 that are there get excited. They get excited. What great content. He won't share that with you. He's not, I'm pulling the wagon. He's making money while I'm pulling the wagon, and he's playing a game probably for free. And there's also news that Jim was supposed to play down south in that league, and they said for this other team that Jim was not be allowed to play on that team. Why? Because Jim's reputation is terrible. Jim finds out that the coach of that team is like fumble nuts, beats, chokes his wife, all that shit. So the head coach is a domestic violence abuser. Jim doesn't have anything that I know of like that in his life. And Jim's reputation's so bad that they won't let him play on that team. Do you understand why now I won't have my Hollywood friends be involved in this? Well, this I will, but not over there because of Jim's volatility. And here's the big coup de grace. Here's the big one. You want to hear about it? Is Jim going live against the Mr. X? You know what he's going to do? You know why he hasn't been around? You know what it is? He's been working as a non-paid private investigator, and I think this is his new direction, and I might be wrong. I'm not trying to do a promo for him, but the fact of the matter is this might be it. He's working as a non-paid private investigator. I think this is his new co-host, Brooke Hogan, Hulk Hogan's daughter that's estranged from the family. Remember he was talking about her on the OTT? It's, kind of familiar. An Italian woman. Dad's famous. Dad's dead. Jim goes over there, starts being a star fucker. Sounds a little bit like Angel Gotti. But the thing about the difference is Angel Gotti is a lot more giving than the Hogans. That doesn't work for me, brother. That's what Hulk Hogan's known for. And there was even a point where Jim said, Mr. X, will you talk to Brooke Hogan? Will you tell her about the OTT? Yeah, no problem. I'll spend 4 or 5 hours with her on the phone. I hear she's a nice lady. I know people that worked in TNA with her, right? I've always heard nice things about her. I said, sure. But since I know that her family is so one way, here's what I'd like you to do, Jim. She's been on Bubba the Love Sponge for a while. I would like you to get me 10 minutes on Bubba the Love Sponge so I could talk about the book, who would care about that? So you can go explain things? Well, if you want me to spend 5 hours with Brooke Hogan, you can't get me a 10-minute plug. Johnny Carson would act like he was interested. I've met Bubba the Love Sponge, the guy who stole Hulk Hogan's sex tape, not Bubba. His name's Matthew Lloyd, Spice Boy. I sat next to him in elementary school, and I knew him in high school. I could talk about a lot of these things with these people. Don't need to talk about that, but I have more experience with this kind of stuff than you do, Jim. Get me a 15-minute plug. It's a local guy with a book, a movie. It's goofy. Let's get him on here. No, but I'm a piece of shit. So I'm just supposed to do that. And here's the problem with Brooke Hogan. Not that she's not a nice lady. Not that she's not, trying to figure out the shenanigans that's happened in her life. She removed herself from that will of Hulk Hogan. When she removed herself, the son, Nick Hogan, and the widow got all the money. She's on the outside looking in, and she's trying to get answers. And I don't blame her. Okay? Hey, if Brooke Hogan's over there, that means excitement. I don't think Brooke, by the way, I don't know this, but I think the reason Jim didn't have some of his shows is I believe that Brooke Hogan no-showed him. That was going to be his big reveal. That's what I think. I don't know that. Maybe I'm wrong. But here's what here's the problem. And this is the problem within my family. And I'm going to be honest with you. Sky, who is Hulk Hogan's widow, allegedly, is big into Scientology. Go listen to Bubba the Love Sponge show. Scientology is big in Clearwater, okay? It's huge in Clearwater. In fact, Jim told me that they were flying drones in Brooke Hogan's backyard somewhere in the Orlando area. Now, let me tell you this, Jim. The Church of Scientology, and some of my first headshots were by those people. A lot of the people I met were always nice. I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not into Scientology. I've never done it. I don't have a problem with people, whatever their religion is. I'm for whatever sets you straight and helps you out. But my suggestion would be not to have anybody within a family go after somebody like this Church of Scientology. Horrible idea. Horrible idea. I want no fucking part of that shit. And nobody in my family does either. Because the Church of Scientology, they're not fucking Candace Cooley and Candace Howard. They're not rednecks out in the middle of Texas or Idaho. This is a powerful organization that's got enough money to sit across the street from you and fucking watch you till the cows come home. Bad idea. And I told Jim, I said, listen, nobody wants to hear bad stuff about Hulk Hogan. And Jim told me a lot of stuff that allegedly Brooke told him that was really bad about Hulk Hogan. And I'm not going to repeat that. I told Jim, people want to remember Hulk Hogan as a legend, slamming Andre. We could talk about like the Queen movie. You could talk about all the shenanigans of Freddie Mercury, or you could talk about like the great stuff the Queen did as a band. That's how we want to remember them. Not with midgets and cocaine on their head, like Sacha Baron Cohen said. You play the hits, as they say. Jim, that's a bad idea. A horrible idea. You star fuckered with fucking Angel Gotti. Now you're star fuckering over here. Nobody has the balls to say it. I don't want, you know how Jim is with the nukes. When that nuke goes off, I'm in the bunker and nowhere near it. I don't want anything to do with Brooke Hogan and her battle against somebody that's gotten millions of dollars that might be involved in the Church of Scientology. Fuck that. Fuck that. No way. You could call me a coward. Yeah, I've you know what? I've been down to that area many times through Clearwater. I know Fort Harrison. I know those people. I told you, my first ever headshot was by a Scientologist. They were just down there in that area. That's what they worked. That's what they did. They were in the entertainment industry. Those people you don't want to fuck around with. It's a horrible idea. And let's be honest, Brooke Hogan, other than this dad being dead and all that kind of stuff, hasn't really been relevant since TNA. I mean, she's not even really invited to WWE. She's not, I mean, I don't know the reasons, but she's not involved in WWE. Nick is. And Nick doesn't have the best reputation after basically crippling that kid in Clearwater. I mean, it's bad news. I'm not saying anything that's strikeable. I'm not saying anything that Bubba the Love Sponge hasn't said on his show, except I think this is a horrible idea for Jim. And for Jim's family, who happen to have businesses and live in Clearwater, the exact same town. Horrible, horrible idea. And if that explodes and you guys are over there and you're interested, maybe I'm doing a giant promo for Jim. Maybe you're interested. Maybe you want to see the explosion. I'm not going to be anywhere over that. No way. No fucking way. That's his new direction. Great. Have fun with that. Yeah. Those Scientologists, Jim, are not Candace Cooley or Candace Howard. Drones flying in the backyard, not a good idea. Like I said, I have pledged to Johnny Yarbrough that I will not go on his show and use Johnny Yarbrough's show as a way to fuck over and get him doxxed or this or that. And Johnny, stand up for yourself. Belvie, stand up for yourself. Tell Jim no. Tell Jim there's a reason you're banned. It's time for you to do the work. If you're this great entertainer and you're this great talent, Jim, then do what I've done for the last 3 years with a perfect record on Stripe. The only person who ever complained was Joy Perry. And we won that one. Perfect record for 3 years. So if you start today, you got 3 years just to get where I'm at right now. And here's the thing. I don't think Jim will, by the way, Jim, you know that having Stripe and you admitting that you have Stripe, now everybody knows where you do business. So if anybody ever wants to get money off you, they know where to go. No more Mr. X buffer. That's gone. But the other thing would be, I know that the OTT has another company that they work for. I'm not going to say what their name is that does credit card billing, but I can tell you this story. You guys have never heard this one. Story time with Mr. X. There was one point where Jim was in Florida again, where Stripe was about to shut down the show. They were going to shut down the show. I don't know if a hater got to them. If Stripe goes away from the OTT, you got to go with a lesser credit card processing company, and it's bad news. They were going to shut it down. The reason Stripe gave, this is a year and a half ago, was because they said we didn't own the content. Jim, you want to shit talk Samurai Priest and Kyle the Coyote? You better thank fucking God that was on there, because we can prove the copyright to those. We can prove the copyright to everything else. And then I took the time and made a 10-minute edit of different shows proving that we were on them and there was nobody else on there. And that's what won it for us. Meanwhile, you're fucking around and not doing any business. Is that being a monkey or is that being a businessman? I saved you. Do you know how many tens of thousands of dollars, maybe about $100,000 that you made by that work I did that day? Would you do that for me? Apparently not. You won't even get my back with a guy like laying pipe. It's fucking bullshit, man. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful because we could be having a good time over there. But I can't do that with you. Go do that with Brooke Hogan. Have fun with that. It's bad news, and I want nothing to do with it. So here's what's going to... Johnny, I told you my pledge. I'm not going to dox anybody. If I ask Johnny to help me with something because something's doxed, don't yell at him. Johnny, what are they going to do to you? What's he going to call your family again? He's already done that. I mean, what's the difference? Can't do anything to you. So let's get on to the customer service aspect of this for people who are full access subscribers. Jim right now has the power to do a show, but he hasn't. I've proven that to you. I've proven to you that he also took me off the platform. He won't do a show. He has no problem going on fucking Eric Foss's show. No wonder Michelle Meltdown loves him. He loves Eric Foss. He loves to go on Angel Gotti. Well, not anymore. He loves to go on Johnny Yarbrough's. I do too. But that's not the $30 people are paying for, or the $12.99 that they're paying for on Night Owl Network. You contacted me 5 minutes before saying you don't have anything this week. How many times have you contacted me before, Jim, and said you had nothing? And how many times have I ever contacted you and said I had nothing? I got a fucking giant list of things here that I've been waiting for 5 days to say to you. I took you out of my opening. That's already been edited. I took your Cash App and all that off of this. Made a mistake on the newsletter. It's now the Mr. X newsletter. That didn't take long. And I have all the phone numbers if and when I want to do a robocall. And I believe that all those people will gladly be on the Mr. X robocall. I just don't have to do the work again. I outthought you. I outworked you. I outperformed you. That's why I'm in the Hollywood Reporter and you're in a Rolling Stone magazine article. I don't agree with the Rolling Stone magazine article. By the way, I gave you the information of how to get that off, and you haven't done it. You haven't done it. You didn't help me at all in my scenario down in San Diego. And if you want to talk with a little bit situation about the guy that runs the cadet program, you didn't really help me that much. Okay? And if Jim ever says anything, I'll tell you this real quick. If Jim ever says that he's the reason that the petitioner is likely going to be removed from that cadet program, I've spoke to that guy within the last month, the head of that cadet program that the petitioner was in. Here's the truth. And you're going to hear this in the court case. The reason that petitioner is being removed, or I don't know, I haven't talked to him, like I said, in a month, was lack of attendance. Has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with Jim. Lack of attendance. So that petitioner was using that cadet program and he wasn't even attending. That's what the main guy said to me. Did Jim get him on the phone and have to help that way? Yeah. And that evidence is bomber. I'll give him that. But that was probably done more for selfish reasons than to help me. Okay. I hear he's going to be, I don't have any evidence of this except for that guy, that sergeant telling me he was going to be removed for lack of attendance. I don't know if that's been done yet, but I'll let the cat out of the bag. I don't give a shit. It is what it is. You're going to hear it in a month anyway. So here we are. Here's what, getting to the customer service, and this is the most important stuff. I mentioned I have a declaration from the OTT that proves Jim Terry TV is owned by Jim Terry TV. I played the call that shows Jim removed me. Okay. I mentioned already why I wanted to remain on the platform, because I know people's screen names more than their email address or what their real names are, but I have to figure that out. I have already refunded people, some people who came in on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that's that. Jim should refund people because he hasn't been around, and I proved it. He hasn't been around for 75% behind the paywall shows on Jim Terry TV. He owes you money, not me. And Jim, I've mentioned this earlier, Indavo gets money from Roku and from Amazon Fire Stick. Where's my money for that? I tried to call Paul today. Where's my money? You know, it's not really fair to me. This isn't fair at all to me. Jim, this is bullshit what you've done. For a guy who's helped you that much, and then you're going to attack my girlfriend? You don't know. You don't know what I'm going to do in my life. Maybe one day I'll get married in Clark County, Nevada. You never know. You never know. But here's what's going to happen. If you are a full access subscriber to either Jim Terry TV or Night Owl Network, I was told by the OTT that you will have access for as long as your subscription is. 75% of the shows are Mr. X News Network anyway, that are behind the paywall, which is what you pay for. You don't pay to chat on Crab Legs Friday so Jim could get an extra couple bucks to bet on the weekend. So I will continue to do my shows here. If you are a recently renewed subscriber, please get to me this weekend. Friday, today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Because on Tuesday, I'm going to shut down Stripe completely. And then I won't be able to refund you. If you are, many people have said to me, Mr. X, I don't need a refund, you're good. You get the Mr. X News Network over here now for free anyway. I have also thought about this, and I'll float this idea out there. It's just an idea, and nobody in YouTube or streaming has ever made this offer. I was thinking about doing a $1.99 tier. And what I would do, in theory, is I would send you $2. I'll Cash App, PayPal you $2 to sign up if you're a full access subscriber for free. And I'll do one show behind that paywall, if necessary, if there's that many people that really need it, for free for a month. Some of you only have a week or 10 days left. And by the way, if you were to go to the OTT right now and look for your account, you're going to see that your account, like you couldn't cancel it or do anything. That's because Stripe is disconnected. I was told by the OTT that either full access subscribers will either have access to it for as long as they paid for it, or it will be free until Jim is able to get a credit card processing company. He's had 4 days and he hasn't done it yet. When I did Stripe and did the OTT 3 years ago, it took me 2 weeks. And I had a company, I had a bank account, I had an EIN, I had everything already set up, and it took me 2 weeks to learn it, and I'm way more proficient in it. And it wasn't, Jim's already got it set up for him. Everything's already built. All he's got to do is hook up a credit card process, make a phone call. Hey, Brooke, you want to come on here? Oh, you're not available this Friday? Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say I'm sick. And then no more Mr. X putting out fires for you like Betty Hayward has said over the last couple years. She's right about that. Do you know how many fires I put out for you? You know how many bullets I've taken for you? No more. That's gone. And you can threaten these nice people who like to give the Mr. X money. I've earned these people's respect. You know that. I'm not saying I'm any great talent. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but I could go to sleep at night knowing that I put in the time. Looking in the mirror and saying, if Fumblenuts and a coward like that's going to say something, I was there. You've been in Florida way more times since November 2024 than I have been. I know you were there in Disney. We did a live. You took money from Kathy Fagan for a t-shirt you never showed again. I don't like that. I don't like the hater stuff. This isn't being a hater towards you. This isn't trashing you. But this is hopefully you clean up your act, because I think you are talented. I think you could. Jim, I sit here and I watch fucking Last Podcast on the Left on Netflix. I'm like, we could do that. We easily could do that. But nobody wants to hear about Betty Hayward. Nobody wants to hear about laying pipe being. They don't know who that is. It was dumb to talk about the Michael Jackson movie. Everybody's talking about it. That's not cool enough for you? Then tell me why that movie's made $1 billion. Oh, Star Wars sucks. It's gay. Jim pulls out a week later some Disney cards. Do I know? Maybe Jim's already got those Disney cards. And he wants you to pay for them so he can get a couple free. It's fucking ridiculous. And then when I do the cards, it's gay. I think about people, Jim, like Blue Diamond, and I'm not trying to put her in the middle of it, but she comes to my mind a lot. I care a lot about that lady. I hope she's over here watching. And I think about her, and I think about a lot of other people that got sick family members that watch what we do. And I'm not worked up. I'm not even that mad. I'm actually kind of disappointed, but relieved. And I think about, like, I don't know if Blue Diamond in her life will have an opportunity to go to Santa Monica Pier. I'm going to take her there. I'm going to take her there. I'm going to take everybody there. You might think that's gay. It's not. Meanwhile, you break in the show and talk about Fumblenuts. This guy's a loser. He's a coward. Now, I understand why the reason you have to hide. I get it. I get it. And I tell you this right now, that person that you need to hide from, nobody in my family that I'm aware of has ever talked to that person. Nobody recognizes that person. Nobody respects that person. So I'm on the same page with you. If that person ever comes to me, I will have nothing to do with that person because of the way that person has acted and what I've seen. They're not part of my family, that's for sure. So I'll give you that. But I'm not hiding anywhere because of it either. And you know that. And I'm not dropping any names. I'm not saying anything. If that person ever comes up to me, I'm going to say that, honey, your mom's a piece of shit, and here's why. Remember when she tried to run me off the road? I was driving. You remember that? One of the only 2 times I ever saw her in person. Do I deserve that when I'm going there to visit my parents? Get your shit together, Jim, because you could be talented. You know, the thing with Mr. X won't bring his Hollywood friends around. I had Jim on Storage Wars. Jim and I, the week or 2 before that, were fucking in Koreatown here in LA. Jim gets in a fight because this is Jim 101. Jim doesn't want to clean up the storage locker that he bought, which is part of the deal. That guy, Dan Dotson from American Auctioneers, Storage Wars, you guys know him. He runs all those. So when I'm live on the next show, he says, "What's up with Jim?" I said, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" He says, "Did he call that guy in Koreatown Gook?" I said, "No. He called him Jackie Chan." And that was the last time I was ever on the show. Do you understand, Jim? Why I won't bring, like I've mentioned Sam Hoger, who's a friend of mine who fought in the UFC. I'd love to have him on the show. You think I'm going to bring him on and have you look up his background when some of those people start to come my way? Let's talk about all the people who like me who had to leave because of you. And they're not here, so I don't mind. I'm not putting them in the Steve in the desert. Hey, Mr. X, check your mailbox. You got a drone coming. What? But because he's not giving Jim goes and fucking shits his information all over. Yes, it is true that Marzi Girl put that information out first. I was so happy to finally delete that Marzi Girl bald photo. I didn't want to see it anymore. Yeah, it's fucked up. The guy was a nice guy. Forget about the money. The money is like even a reason more not to do it. And like that was done on Shark Hitter's show for what purpose? Brother, what money? You know, Hulk Hogan was known for this. When they would lock up, they were like, okay, let's have a good match. They're talking to each other, and Hogan would say, we already got their money. And my attitude is, let's work our ass off so they'll come back. Jim's attitude is, let's talk them into the building. Once I talk them into the building, I already got their money. That's not good, because eventually that's going to wear out. Unless you're Hulk Hogan, of course, which you're not. By the way, let me send thank you to some other people that have come in. I tell you what, phone lines are open. Everybody is welcome to do and say what they want. Let's say this real quick, though. This woman comes in. Happy Friday, everyone. 1999, Mr. X. I don't know this person. Do I know him? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. I know who that is. I'm sorry. $1.99. Look at that. Believe it or not. Good luck moving forward without Jim. Danny, I've moved forward without Jim for years. And Danny, I'll tell you this. I'm not a fan of yours. Never talked about your son. You know, I've talked about this many times. My property goes right by where you used to work. Never stopped you and harassed you. Could you imagine, Danny? And I know your friend used to be Confluence. If I would have stopped by somebody's work, or I would have broken into somebody's modem, which you were a part of, that's what they say. Could you imagine if I broke into that petitioner's modem like they did ours? I mean, it's not cool. I've never done anything to you. And you're going to fucking shit all over me? That's another reason to get away from Jim. Because Jim wants to fight with this woman? You know what you should do, Danny, is you should contact that woman that you were friends with down in San Diego and say, listen, Mr. X has offered through his attorney many times for you guys to drop it. Drop it. Let it go. Let it go. Because if you lose, he's going to go for his money. And maybe he'll get some of the E&O insurance and it'll be less. And I'm not going to tell you how much less. But it's going to be tough for a 19-year-old to owe somebody like me thousands and thousands of dollars if we win the next case. And I'm not going anywhere. Now I got less shows to do. I got the time to do it. Texas Granny coming in, $19.99 on the super sticker. So during that entire rant, thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody. I'll answer any questions you want. I saw somebody called from Maryland. My phone's on now. I'll answer anything you want. What's up, Monica? Call in anybody. This is your opportunity. And if you call in or you have a problem, I would prefer you, unlike Jim, specifically with your account. I mean, you could call in. We'll do it here live. You're going to be on the show. Here's what's going to happen. I would rather you email it to me, because then I could take care of you behind the scenes. If you want to take, I'm talking about full access subscribers. If you want to be you want to be on a show, if there's no phone calls, that's fine. We've held over 200 people here the entire time. Okay. So we're doing pretty well. If there's any questions, let me know. And hey, if you don't want to call in or you're busy this weekend, because I understand people got families, we got up till Monday. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this on Monday. And then come Tuesday, that's it. It's over. I have not seen anybody, and tell me if I'm wrong, Texas Granny, you're in the chat. If anybody has said in the chat that they want a refund, has anybody said that? Has anybody said that yet? No? I'm just curious. Is anybody out there that has time left on Jim Terry TV want a refund? Has anybody said that? And according to Texas Granny here a moment ago, she says no. Nobody's asked for one. You guys might be hiding in the bushes because you don't want to come up because you're scared about what Jim might say or Jim might attack you. All you got to do is block Jim and he's gone. That's all you got to do is block him. What's he going to do? Tell your family, don't talk to him. I mean, how dumb can you be to talk to a guy that you don't fucking know? How many times have I said that? That's all you got to do. And he has nothing. And Jim, I did not show that football game of yours. I have the footage right here. I could put it up there. It's not flattering, Jim. You should not be making fun of what people look like. You certainly shouldn't be making fun of pictures that Watcher or Crazy's getting of what I look like. I'm in way, way better shape than you. You haven't put in the time. You haven't put in the effort. And you can't go around telling people you're an athlete looking like that. You can't. Well, nobody's calling in. I got through everything I got through. I didn't want this to be a bashing session. I don't feel it really is. I just told you the story of what was going on. Nobody was doxxed. Nobody was humiliated here. I have not talked about women that are in Jim's life. I do not want it to be that. I don't want to go back and forth with Jim and continuously do this. I want to do a show that we can laugh and see something goofy, and you guys call in, you send me your mail, we do something, and the show evolves, and the hater stuff's over. Don't email me and say, hey, Mr. X, watch your crazies breaking down your show. I don't give a fuck. She's a loser. She's a coward. She no-showed when I was in Vegas. It's what it is. It's just a fact. Fumble. These people, regardless if I talk to Jim or not, I love Jim. I can't work with them anymore. That's it. That's it. And the things that I'm saying to him, you got the time. If I can find the time to get in the gym, why can't you? And how dare you and Eric Foss talk about other people? I mean, come on. Really? It's fucking ridiculous. Let me read off some Cash Apps too. I'm going to be very careful here. I've read off all the super stickers. See what I can get here done with a few more minutes here. And I don't know if Jim's live. I don't care if Jim's live. You know, if you want to put that in the chat, I mean, you're welcome to. Let me read off some people. Jim thinks that people don't love me. And I'm going to tell you if it's recent or if it's old, unlike Jim. I'll tell you if it's new or old. Some Cash Apps first. Spanky from Boise coming in. Thank you, Spanky from Boise. Kick ass on the new show. Thank you. Barbara Buffalo. Thank you. We haven't spoke, Barbara Buffalo. You're welcome to call me anytime. Mandy H. Thank you. Not going to say anything more. Katie C. Sorry, but thank you. I'm just seeing your note now. Thank you. Spanky. Thank you again. That's from yesterday. Mean Green. Thank you. She says she's not choosing. I don't mind reading that. Eric Murphy. Thank you. We've spoke. Dana Nicole. Thank you. Not mentioning numbers here either. Queen of Ossian. Thank you for the Cash App. These are all Cash Apps. Mean Green again. Thank you. That's probably from Johnny's show the other day. So those last like 5 or 6 are from the other day as all this stuff was going on. Thank you to all those people who have come in. That's just Cash Apps. Now, let's go to the PayPal. I don't check Venmo too often, but your love. We love you, Mr. X. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Queen of Ossian, this and that. Yada, yada. Let's go to the PayPal, and then we're going to wrap it up here, and we'll get in our 2 hours like we always try to do. And I can spend the rest of my Friday night not hearing people scream at each other over nonsense. Texas Granny coming in today, even though she came in on the super stickers. I'm not going to read out the amounts. I see them. Thank you. Amanda from Australia coming in. I see the amount. And it's and I saw you come in again here on this PayPal. Thank you. And then Texas Granny the other day. Thank you for that. And then Noodle Salad, thinking of me. Thank you. Winklebottom. Thank you. Sounds like a lot more. You don't hear me saying thank you to Tennessee Gambler, even though I do. Or you said Tennessee Gambler, Traveling Fools, Barbara Buffalo, and Texas Granny. A lot more than that. And by the way, there's more than a handful that don't want me to mention their names. And I want to thank them too. And I think I saw somebody, I think it was Love in the Sun. Did I get you? Thank you. And I think I've earned enough credibility that when I say something is true, you know it's not bullshit. I think I caught up with everybody on that. Amanda, she works hard. I don't know what she does. She's in Australia. I don't know if the price of living there is lower. I'm not sure. But there's no new phone calls. I did see somebody call from Maryland. I don't know who that was. It was a 301 number. Let me call it back real quick. We'll see who it is. It might be a spam number. I don't know. 53 minutes ago, 301 area code. Maybe it was Eric Foss. Yeah, and I'm not interested in talking to him. And Eric, if that's your number, I think you're the only one I know that's from Maryland. Yes, you are blocked. And so is your buddy Michelle Meltdown. I don't want you over here. Not interested. I'm good. I'm good on that. Yeah, that's who that is. All right. Well, that's it. I think we're good. Nobody has any questions. Everybody's good to go. I want to thank you. I mean, we stayed above 200. We're a little bit lower right now. Thanks everybody for being a part of what we did and have done. And I'm going to continue to keep, pumping along here the best I can. We're talking about all kinds of stuff here that we can do. And there's no Jim here. Jim's over there. Maybe. And I believe this, that Jim, there's a stronger chance that Jim won't get this off the ground than he will. Because you remember people like Watcher Crazy, like, I didn't think it would last 3 weeks. Bitch, you didn't know who I was. I'm the one who made it last 3 years until I didn't anymore. And what I believe is going to happen is it won't be successful without me. It could be. By the way, Jim has asked Indavo to do all the work that I do. They said no. They don't do that. Jim could be successful, but you got to put in the time. When it's not successful, he will blame it on me. That's what will happen. I think that's what will happen. It's fine. I'm used to having the shit roll down in my lap. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I just want everybody to be free, says Spanky. That's right. Well, I just want to do a show and have a good time and not have any issues and people fight with me, not have any people do things to me because Jim wants to do content that really nobody cares about. There's no question for now that Mr. X, and for now and in the past, has been the heartbeat of Jim Terry TV. There's no question that I carried it. If you think somebody's more talented or this or that, that's up to you. Yeah, that's subjective. You can't beat facts, like Chappelle says, right? And there's a saying in the military, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. But if one of those two is Jim Terry and he's fucking you up, I'd rather be the one and I'll take my chances on being none. How about that? No questions? Thank you, Little Willow. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you on Mr. X News Network, Mr. XposeU here on Monday night. And if you're striking this, good luck. There's really not much to strike. I didn't show anything. I mean, I could show that football game, but I'm not going to. I'm not even telling you where it's at. Good luck, guys. We'll see you. Contact me. Contact me if you got any questions. I will help you. I will answer any questions throughout the weekend and on Monday, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll be back to our originally scheduled program. That's right. Play my music, monkey. There it is. Well, we is me. And we'll have some guests and other things in the future. We'll play it by ear. Thank you so much. And I'm sneaking out of here.